Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video we have a PlayStation 5 digital which has a power issue. So as I say, this PS5 digital edition has a power issue. It's basically a blue light of death. So when we hit the power button, it beeps, it shows a blue light, but then goes off after about 2 seconds. So it is a 2-second blue light of death issue, also known as a 3-second blue light of death issue sometimes. So let's see if this one has been opened. Yes, it has. It's actually come from another repair store who have attempted to repair it but were unable to. So what we're going to do is get this one open, get down to the motherboard, and we can have a check to see what is going on. Right, so down to the motherboard, let's pop in some power, let's bring up our multimeter and do our usual checks just to make sure that, or just to check what voltage we have got. We are going to pop one probe on ground, the black probe on ground, and we're just going to buzz around the board to see what voltage we get. So do we get 5 volts? Yep, we get our 5 volts. Do we get our 3.3 volts? Yep, we get our 3.3 volts. Let's buzz around. I can see there's looks to be some flux around these RAM ICs. So let's keep buzzing around to see what's going on. Do we get 5 volts? Either side of F7002. No, we don't. So we get it that side, but we don't get it, I don't think. Oh yes, we do. There we go. 5 volts on that side as well. Let's just quickly check these voltages down here. Get our 5 volts there, which is good. Now, I don't know if you can see this on camera, but there looks to be some additional flux around these RAM ICs. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop the motherboard out and we can take a closer look at that. Right, so with the motherboard out, if we just flip it around by this RAM, what I mean is, let's just zoom you in a little bit. Can you see all the flux around the RAM? So someone has tried to reflow all of these RAM, and I don't know why. Looks like they haven't been replaced because you can still see the actual thermal pad markings on there. So I think they've just reflowed them, but I don't know why. So in these kind of situations, what I like to do is just hook up the motherboard to UART. Looks like no one's tried that yet. So we will connect the motherboard up to UART and see if that gives us any error codes. I won't go through the whole UART process now, I'll just quickly read the codes. I created a video a while back showing you actually how to use UART. So click up wherever it is up here to see that video, or I'll leave a link in the description below to see how to use UART. So let's just quickly get the reading and see where we are. Right, with our UART reader connected, we've just ran through the process of reading the error codes off the motherboard. As I say, there'll be a link down in the description or over here somewhere in the top right hand corner of how to use UART. The error code that we are receiving is an error code 80801104. and that is basically throwing up an error of one of the DDR6 RAM ICs. Those are the chips around here. There's 8 of them on the PS5. All right, our error code actually points to bank 3. The way you read these chips is like this way round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 1, 2, 3. That is the IC that is throwing up the error. Now, it might not actually be broken, right? Because what you can see is obviously earlier on I showed someone has reflowed these memory chips already. So when they've reflowed this one, they might have actually just broken it even further, right? So it might not be faulty, right? But what we will do is we will replace that anyhow, and then we'll do another UART read to see if there's any other errors. It might fix our blue lights issue, right? Just replacing that one. That could be the one that's faulty. That could be whoever previously worked on this might have looked at it and gone, oh, there's something wrong with the memory chips, and that's why they've reflowed them. They don't look replaced to me, just reflowed. However, as I say, what might be the case is when they've reflowed this one, they've actually damaged it even more. So although we replace that, we might get rid of the error code, but we might still have a blue light issue. But obviously we need to replace that first of all. So let's see if we get lucky. Let's get this one replaced. We have a donor memory chip. When you replace these, it's always best to replace them with exactly the same manufacturer as the ones that are already on there. So there's various different manufacturers that Sony use when they're making these boards. So just make sure you're using the same manufacturer IC with the one that you replace. Right, I need to get this reballed and then we can remove that one and replace it. Okay, with that GDDR6 chip replaced, we just hooked it back up to UART and we have got, we cleared off the error codes and we've got no errors now. So it does look like that chip was at fault. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to obviously give all these other ICs a clean up where they've left the flux from previously. We'll sort out the liquid metal. We'll remove our UART reader, and then we will give everything a good test. Right, that's everything put back together and cleaned up. Let's plug in some power. And I'm 99% sure this will power up because UART reports 0 errors. Let's push the power button, and as you can see there, we've got a blue light. Great, and let's see if we get a display. We should, yep, there we go. Got a display. Perfect. Good, there you go, everything working. So I do need to give this a thorough test, which what I will do. You know, because it's a RAM IC that's been replaced, it's good to give it a good thorough test, right? Just to make sure there's no issues with that RAM that I've replaced. So I will soak test it for a good few hours, making sure obviously games can install, etc. And you can play games without any issues whatsoever. Right, so there you go. Quick video for you, obviously showing you how to fix a blue light of death, a 2 or 3 second blue light of death in this example, and it turned out to be that RAM IC. Now I'm guessing the workshop that worked on this previously, they obviously had an idea it was the RAM, right? They hadn't checked UART, so I'm not too sure how they kind of worked out it was a RAM issue. Maybe they watched a YouTube video. They tried to reflow the RAM, but it was that, you know, RAM on bank 3 that actually had a fault that needed replacing. So there you go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, as always, please give us a thumbs up. It really does help us out, and please consider subscribing to the channel. Again, that helps us out. It's just a couple of clicks for you, but it really does help us out and encourages us to make more videos just like this one. Thanks very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. See you next week. Bye bye for now.